morning, River Rascals. I'm your host, Julie May Morrill, reporting semi-live from our studio here on the banks of the Kiskatoon River down near Haven Hollow, where the stories flow and the breeze swishes like water through the Douglas fir trees. Thank you for tuning in to KRYVR Retro River Radio. You can find us at around 108.2 3/4, just a hair past normal on your FM dial. Now I know what you're thinking. Is that breeze out there doing anything to lower the temperature when the sun's melting the numbers off the porch thermometer? And to that I say, imagination, folks. Imagination. Just pretend you're sitting by the river, got your ball cap on and your fishing line in the current. Or better yet, sit by the river with your feet in the water as you tip back a brewski. Nope, scratch that. Make that a cold iced tea. This is a family show. Okay, let's take a look at what's happening on the riverbank today. Stand by for news. Today's traffic report is brought to you by the Perkins Ranch because they're the ones causing it. That's right, Rancher Chris Perkins is moving his doggies through downtown Haven Hollow again. Horn Lane is backed up with mooing, lowing, and a couple of very active, very smart blue heelers. They're heading up Main Street, so if you're in a hurry, I'd recommend Island Road or Highway 3, or just lean on your horn and pretend it's a parade. No, don't do that. Old Perkins will have my hide. Okay, for our weather update, in case you haven't noticed already, it's going to be a scorcher today, folks. We're looking at near triple digits by this afternoon. If you're lucky enough to be near water, the Rebel River Bridge swimming hole is today's top pick. Get out those old black, sun-warmed, multi-patched inner tubes and get your buns down to that little chute of white water. It beats any roller coaster or log ride at any amusement park anywhere. Just climb up those rocks, scrape your knees on a boulder or two, and let that rapid shoot you through like a human cannonball. And here's what's going on with our wildlife watch today. The royals have arrived. That's right, folks. The monarch butterflies are hatching, and it looks to be a bumper crop this summer. There are literally thousands of these beautiful creatures emerging from their cocoons right now and making quite a regal display of themselves. Enjoy! Next up, sports. In Little League news, the Rebel River Valley Sandlot Sluggers lost a few teeth but gained a few stories at last night's game. Final score, 11-9, with a home run ball currently stuck in Mr. Eastland's windshield. Really? No, not really. Really. For our 4-H Showdown update, Cassidy Blake took top prize at the goat milking contest with a new country record. Cassidy, we raise our pails to you, sir. And in our unofficial river rodeo, J.T. Schaefer attempted to ride a loose inner tube down the Rebel River down by Kelsey Creek Bridge. It went well for the first 3 seconds. EMTs say he'll be fine, but his high-top tennis shoes and that runaway inner tube now belong to the river. Let's pause for a word from our fine sponsors who help pay the bills around here. Do you need a 4-legged fishing buddy? Marble Mountain Kennels has got you covered. For the highest quality black, yellow, chocolate, and fox red labs, as well as expert training, contact Pete Morrill at his ranch in Siskiyou County, California. Area code 530-598-0943. Are you feeling stuck and at a crossroads, searching for life's meaning and your life calling? Invite Pete and his wife to organize a retreat or workshop for your group or organization, where they will take you step by step through their True North Quest training to help you discover and fulfill your calling. Located in Northern California, you can reach them at 530-598-5935 or on one of those newfangled website things, tnadventures.org. And finally, at Hattie Mae's Hair and Hen House, we'll perm your bangs while you pick out a pullet. Get yourself looking fine for Sunday service and leave with 6 fresh eggs and a new best friend named Cluckles. Hattie Annie's Hair and Hen House, where beauty and birds of a feather flock together. And now it's time for our listener call-ins. If you've got something to say, we've got an ear for you. All I ask is that you keep it clean and respectful. We've got Papa Joe on the line. Hello, Papa Joe. What have you got to share with our listeners today? Go ahead. You're on the air.
Since you said to keep it clean, I'm not sure how much I can say.
Ha! Most folks know that Papa Joe is your nickname, and you're actually Father Joseph from Church of the Immaculate Conception on Humbug Road in Hawkinsville. So, Papa Joe, what do you have to say?
It's about cows and gates.
Oh boy, this could be interesting, a favorite topic in these parts.
Yes, it is. I've been pondering this subject, and I believe there's a lesson here for all of us. You know how cattle guards keep cows from crossing, because stepping on one means getting a hoof caught in bars?
Yeah, sure. Go on.
Well, life is a little like a cattle guard. You can choose to sin and stray from the path of righteousness, but you'll get your hoof caught in a cattle guard if you're lucky. If you're unlucky and actually make it across one of these guards that God places in your life for your protection, you could end up going straight to hell.
Okay, Papa Joe, that's certainly nothing to joke about, is it? So thank you for calling in and sharing that interesting analogy that might be a little less clean than I would have expected since you almost swore on the air. We've gone a little overtime in this segment, folks, but it looks like I'll have to take another call just to lighten things up a little. Next caller, you're on the air.
Hello, this is Robert. Am I on the air?
Yes, you are, Robert. Welcome to KRYVR Retro Radio in the morning. What do you have to say?
I want to share that folks are littering too much on Highway 96 these days, probably teenagers or people transplanted from the city who don't respect the natural beauty of our area. I want you all to save your trash and put it in a trash can and stop throwing it out your car windows.
Like, give a hoot?
What do you mean?
You know, give a hoot, don't pollute, woodsy owl. Okay, never mind. Thank you, Robert, for sharing this important message. Now, my only question for you is, have you ever been in a pie eating contest, Robert, and did it change your life? No response. Looks like we lost Robert. Sorry, I guess he hung up. Okay, Robert, thanks for calling in. We've got time for just one more quick call. If someone's feeling shy, we've got Anonymous on the line with a question he says is a bit sensitive. Go ahead, Anonymous. You're on KRYVR Radio.
Hey there, thanks for taking my call. I've been dating my girlfriend for 6 years now, and I'm feeling real good about our relationship. I guess I just want to know, should I ask her to marry me?
6 years. Whew! That's a long courtship. Sounds like you two know each other better than most married folks.
Yeah, I suppose we do.
Well, Anonymous, I'm no therapist, but if she's been sticking by your side for 6 whole years without a ring or a ceremony, sounds like she's already passed the test. Ask her, and this time don't wait another 6 years for her answer.
All right, I will. Thanks so much.
Well, don't thank me till she says yes.
Will do.
Okay, thanks for calling. We wish you both the best. And now I've got a little announcement for all of you out there in Radioland. Want to be part of the KRYVR Retro River Radio Show? Send us a voice memo with your own playful call-in. Just write a short, fun script, maybe a question and answer between a caller and a radio host, and record yourself playing both parts. Keep it clean, kind, country, and comedic, just like Aunt Mabel's church potluck jokes. Keep it under 60 seconds long, and email your voice memo to juliemaymoral@gmail.com. If it makes us chuckle, your quirky dialogue might just end up on an upcoming episode of KRYVR River Radio, unless those pesky raccoons get to the inbox first. Okay, let's dial it back and take a paddle through quieter waters. This is River to My Home, a segment where we shine a light on the folks who make this place feel like family. It's been an interesting week here in the hidden hamlet of Haven Hollow on the river to my home, tucked deep in the untamed wilderness somewhere between the Cascades and the Kootenays. The first day of summer came with a cold front and a storm that freshened the air with the sweet aroma of wild grass, petrichor, and steaming asphalt. Personally, I think this was the idyllic summer day, but it's not the best start for summer camp, where both campers and staff at our local Cricket Creek camp are chomping at the bit, pun intended, to be outside riding horses, whitewater rafting, swimming in the pond, and doing all sorts of other fun outdoor activities. The chance to direct a remote Christian camp nestled deep in the Kiskatoon National Forest seemed like an answer to prayer for our newcomer, Joel McKenzie, a fresh start for him and his family. What he hadn't anticipated was how hard the transition would be for his wife, Linda, or his oldest daughter, Marin. Joel was having a hard enough time juggling being a camp director, dealing with staff and campers and endless problems that needed solving, on top of being a dad and trying to take care of his kids. Thankfully, he was able to let them roam the camp each day and connect with counselors who took them under their wings. But Linda, his wife, continued to delay her move from Southern California to join him and the kids up here. He wasn't concerned at first, but whenever he allowed himself to think too much about it, he couldn't ignore the creeping apprehension. He was aware of her distaste for the outdoors and rural life, but she'd said she was open to trying it. And yet she was still in L.A., far away from him, not seeming to make much of an effort to shut down her life in the city to make the transition. And she kept making excuses, needing to stay in an apartment now that the house is sold, needing to continue to work at her place of business a week longer than expected. She was spending less and less time talking with Joel on the phone in the evenings. Their conversations kept getting cut short with interruptions from a friend or another phone call or a meeting she'd forgotten about. When he asked how she thought they were doing as a couple in their marriage, she laughed and called him paranoid. Strange word, paranoid. New life. And she was homesick. For her school friends back in Southern California, and for her mom. One warm, sunny afternoon after church, Joel took a leisurely drive along Highway 96 to one of the few places open on a Sunday. The rustic Haven Hollow General Store with a 100-year-old building stood beside a clackety suspension bridge. "Can we get some root beer, please, and bubble gum?" Colt implored from the back seat of the car. The request was echoed eagerly by Shayla and Marin. Root beer and chewing gum always made the Mackenzie kids feel more grown up. The tires of the station wagon kicked up dust as it crunched over the graveled parking lot. A hand-written sign in the shop's wavy glass window read, "No shirt, no shoes, no service." Marin scoffed. Who would walk around without shoes or a shirt? No sooner had the words escaped her lips than 3 bare-chested, barefoot boys with sun-browned skin, boys she'd seen in Sunday school earlier that morning, came running, huffing and puffing up the muddy riverbank, fishing rods in one hand, strings of freshly caught trout in the other. They waved at the Mackenzies before bounding onto the porch of the general store, pulling flip-flops and wrinkled T-shirts from backpacks and throwing them on before crashing inside. The wooden steps groaned beneath Joel's feet as he stepped onto the porch of the store and held open the screen door for his kids to enter ahead of him. The scents of milled pine, beef jerky, and river trout hit Marin's senses. She wrinkled her nose, but said nothing as she crossed her arms over her chest and browsed the wooden barrels overflowing with bubble yum, jawbreakers, and bottle cap candies. Shayla, undeterred, made a beeline for the front counter with its curious jars of pickled pig's feet and giant dills. Joel chuckled as he watched Colt stare in wide-eyed delight at the boys and their shiny fresh rainbows. Skipping up to the anglers, Colt asked all about the fish and what bait they'd used. With eager grins, the boys opened the lid of a metal bin filled with damp dirt and pulled out the juiciest night crawlers Colt had ever seen, sealing an instant friendship between him and the 3 Carter boys. The screen door creaked and banged again, and everyone in the store glanced over to see a fair-haired woman enter. Dressed in a cap-sleeved eyelet top and embroidered bell-bottom jeans, she struggled with a squirming baby on her hip. A spunky 4-year-old girl with long, curly brunette hair trailed behind her. "Hi there," Colt called out, smiling to the little girl as he easily made yet another new friend. "Come see these night crawlers. They're so cool and gross." The 2 4-year-olds instantly amused themselves digging through the bin for more fat, wriggly worms. Joel wasn't sure where he'd seen the new arrivals. Church, maybe? She seemed abnormally shy, like she didn't want to be here. She carried her few cans of beans and tuna to the checkout counter, and Joel turned back to his kids. Colt had discovered a pocket knife display and was tugging on his T-shirt, asking if he could use his dog care chore money to buy one. Joel chuckled and shook his head. "You can get a stick of jerky instead. We need to have a little talk about knife safety and consequences, and why knives are for older, more responsible people." Wispy hair dyed orange, waving as she adjusted a giant straw hat adorned with fishing lures and what appeared to be a pigeon feather or 2. "Got any more of that pickled corn, Ernie?" she shouted to the clerk halfway up the porch steps. Her sister Maureen trailed behind with her bluish-gray bob, quietly clutching a large Tupperware container with air holes poked in the lid. She said nothing, just gave Joel a solemn nod as she passed, as if he were part of a covert mission. Joel nodded back, because what else can you do when you're stared down by a woman carrying what might be a possum in a shepherd's pie dish? "Caught a ghost over at the Rebel River Museum last night," Loretta bellowed, loud enough to rattle the jars. "Or a raccoon. We're still investigating." Marin, mid-sip of her root beer, choked in a spectacular mix of laughter and mortification. What kind of weirdos live out here in this country bumpkin place? The shy woman and her children quietly made their way toward the door until Loretta Gribble raised a hand and called out, "Wait! Your little girl sees angels and demons." Joel, Shayla, and Colt all turned to look. Marin froze and nearly choked again. The woman's face blanched. "Yes," she whispered. "She does." "Of course I do," the girl piped up cheerfully. "Of course she does," Loretta echoed, her tone a curious blend of mystery and matter of fact. And with that, the screen door creaked and clattered shut behind the woman and her children. That's the news from the river to my home, where Haven Hollow and other humble hamlets along the Kiskatoon continue to hum along as they always have, with old stories and new beginnings, strange neighbors and stranger pets, and the occasional ghost hunt on a lazy weekend afternoon. And now it's time for Tunes from the Kiskatoon. Dust off your dancing shoes, River Rascals. It's our Retro River Rockout. A little shimmy from the good old days to get your toes tapping. Here's About That Oldie by Vibe Tracks right here on KRYVR KRYVR Radio. That was About That Oldie by Vibe Tracks. You're listening to KRYVR Kiskatoon River Radio. Well, River Rascals, that's the end of our show for today. Thank you for joining us here on 108 or 9 something FM KRYVR Radio. And like Grandpa Glenn always says, it's the first day of summer and already the days are getting shorter. This has been your host, Julie May Morrill, reminding you whether you're riding the current or getting chased by a bull, you're always welcome here on the river we call home. Take care of yourselves and don't forget to wave at our farmer friends on tractors. God bless and good day. KRYVR River Radio is a homegrown production brought to you by KRYVR and the fine folks at True North Quests, helping you find your calling one story at a time. Written, edited, produced, and hosted by yours truly, Julie Morrill. Co-hosted by James Jim Bob Simon. Special thanks to the talented musicians whose work helped bring today's episode to life. Cheesecake by Ofer Koren, our toe tappin' intro theme. High Street by A Month of Sleep. By the Riverside by Grand Project. About That Oldie by Vibe Tracks. And Travel by Alex Goose. And last but never least, thanks be to God for every breath we breathe.